YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. Okay, now hopefully you've been following the channel, because I often refer to old videos, and if you have been, you would know that right now I'm going through all of my amps and kind of reviewing them, seeing which ones I want to keep and which ones I want to sell, get rid of, you know. And it sometimes surprises me what I discover. And so this is no different. I went through most of my combo amps, including the Fender Super Champ X2, the Bugera V22, the Supro, right, and the PV Classic 30, for example. And then I had a kind of an oddball one that I actually purchased from a friend of mine, and it's a Marshall. A Marshall DSL 40C, in fact, and we can look at it here. Okay, now this is not an ordinary Marshall DSL 40 watt tube amp with built-in reverb, 2 channels, you know, full-fledged tube amp. And for me, I really am looking for just that kind of blackface Fender style clean tone, right? And I found that the Marshall, while I had an okay clean tone, it kind of struggled, you know. And well, it turns out it's no different here, you know. The 40 DSL 40C is a great Marshall amp, right? But its clean tone is kind of okay, but kind of meh, you know. And to be quite frank, who in their right mind buys a Marshall for the clean tones, right? Especially when there's other amps out there that have better clean sounds, you know. Now this particular amp, though, is not just a regular Marshall DSL 40C, in the sense that the speaker inside has been upgraded, right? And it's been upgraded to a really nice speaker, and that is the Helitone 30, right? The name alone scares me. But it's known for its high gain tones. The Helitone 30. So when you add that to the Marshall DSL 40C, especially in the gain channel, right, you get a really nice classic Marshall sound. And actually has a good sounding low end, you know. It's not all clubby and things because of that speaker. However, that still didn't make up for the clean channel, which again is decent but just okay, you know. It's not. And in fact, I found it that even with the treble all the way down to 2 or even nothing at all, it's still, the hand especially, comes off as shrill because of its brightness. You know, I don't know if that's a combination of the speaker or what have you. But clean channel wise, you know, I found even the Bugera V22 combo amp is like, you know, about half the price of the Marshall. Had a better clean. Okay, now here's the Marshall DSL 40 combo amp. 40 watts, 2 channels, clean channel, 3-band EQ, but then it's got some other stuff. So it has presence, resonance, then you've got your reverb. Okay, and at first glance, I mean, it looks like an awesome amp. It has an effects loop, and it is an awesome amp. However, for my purposes, it may not be what I'm looking for. Alright, now, keep in mind, I'm not trying to knock Marshall at all. Okay, it is a great amp, right? But for me, you know, I'm just using the clean channel. This amp offers a lot more than that. You know, it has the gain channel, clean channel, and so on. A lot of you may own this amp. It's a very solid tube amp, you know. But just to give you an idea, here's the Bugera on the clean channel. The Bugera V22, which is a 22 watt tube amp, right? So less than the Marshall. But if you just listen to the clean channel, so that's a pretty darn decent clean sound, I think. I really like that sound. Now let's compare that to the Marshall. Okay, now here's the Marshall DSL 40. And before I start, let me tell you, I've got the treble all the way down to 0 because it is so bright. And here it is at 0. bass response, right? I mean, I have the bass cranked all the way and the treble all the way down, and still bass-wise. Just to be fair, I'll set everything at 5. Now here's the Marshall at 5. Okay, and for me at these settings, it sounds kind of shrill, really. So in any case, it's almost like I'm trying to make it do something it doesn't want to do, you know, or can't do maybe. I mean, this is a rock amp, you know, kind of, I'm sure it can give you these AC/DC type tones, and you know, the classic Marshall sound, right? So clean wise, I mean, it's decent, don't get me wrong, but for me it seems to struggle a bit. Not as much low end and those kinds of things, you know. But it was never designed, you know, to give you a super great clean sound to begin with, you know. And really comparing that to, and I've compared it to everything from a Black Star head, the PV Classic 30, the Bugera V22, Fender X2, Fender Deluxe Reverb, you know. And any one of those kind of gives you a better clean sound, you know. However, keep in mind, try that in the overdrive and all of a sudden I'm sure the Marshall would pretty much eat all of those except for maybe the Classic 30, you know, and come out on top for sure. But that's not what I'm going for personally. And for that reason, I've decided to sell it. You know, and the reason is the clean channel, you know. It's just not for me, I guess. You know, which is interesting because the Marshall DSL-20 wasn't either. You know, I mean, it was a fine amp. Both of these are fine amps. But they're just for the clean channel and the clean sound I want. They're not for me. And I can't imagine how bright the amp can get. I mean, the treble control is just crazy. You know, and Yeah, so that 3-band EQ is no joke on the Marshall. You know, and it's got the Helitone 30 speaker in it. You know, which gives it a much nicer sound than the stock speaker. You know, which usually is or at least was, a Marshall, a Celestion 7080 speaker. Pretty common speaker, and actually not a bad speaker, believe it or not. In fact, I have a couple amps and cabinets with the 7080 speaker, and it works out pretty well. I've got the, yes, as I was saying, I have in fact, it is a Marshall 2x12 cabinet, one of those vertical ones, and it has 7080 Celestion speakers in it. Also, the Black Star Club 40 amp has a 7080 speaker in it, but in this case, it's been upgraded to this Helitone. Now, you think with a name like that, it's kind of telling you it's probably made for like rock and metal, right? I mean, this isn't Scrabble rock here. I mean, the Helitone, right? So probably a high gain speaker, I'm imagining. You know, so overall it's a great amp, but just not for me. You know, I really wanted to like it, and I mean, I messed around with the settings, you know, and I got some different clean sounds, but never one that I thought, man, that's really cool, you know, or one that I really liked. I mean, I hate to admit it, but I personally like the Bugera sound better, or clean. Remember we were doing the low end? I mean, listen to this. This is crazy. Has a much smoother sound, maybe, you know, and a deep sound. I think that's a good example of why I'm selling the Marshall. You know, now I could have gone the other way, because I like to play 2 amps in stereo, hopefully of the same kind. So I could have gone the other way and bought another Marshall and played 2 Marshalls. But for me, as I said, the clean channel just isn't quite up to par. You know. And I mean, I guess that's to be expected, because it can get really great high gain sounds. You know. Now keep in mind, Jimi Hendrix played a Marshall, right? Even on clean, it was kind of a semi-clean sound. You know, I remember I'm sure people have seen this, the 1967 Jimi Hendrix, right? And this was really when he first came onto the scene in England. And they show him playing, and he's just got a great, clean sound. You know, out of a Marshall amp. You know, I think it was a JTM 45 or something. You know, I don't know. I mean, I suppose you could mess with the Marshall and get a sound that you liked, but I tried and failed. So there you go. But I think it would make a great amp for somebody, you know, playing rock and metal tones. And I wish I had this amp, you know, 20 years ago, what have you. Ha! You know, back when it played a lot of distorted stuff. Alright, so I wanted to show you that. Leave me your comments. What do you think? Should I sell it or keep it? I'm thinking of selling it. In fact, I already have it listed. You know. And with the Helotone speaker built in, I'm asking $650. You know. I think a stock DSL 40C is about $9.99 or something like that. Let's take a look. Okay, it looks like Sweetwater has a Marshall DSL 40 CR stock for $7.29. You know. But that Helotone speaker makes a huge difference, I think. You know. And for me, from all the amps I have, I always consider this one. You know, I have small amps and I have big amps. Well, this is a big amp. And it can get quite loud and those kinds of things. Alright, very good. And I hope I haven't offended anyone who owns a Marshall, you know. I have a Marshall cabinet that I really like. In any case, very good. See you next time.